And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. Always a busy day out there at KKTC True Country 99.9. And our friends, of course, out there at HighTideCountry.net, our streaming station in Oklahoma City. Glad to be back, of course, today. It being Thursday. Hard to believe we're almost halfway through July. I say that about every month because time always gets away from us out there, too. But it is halfway. The year's over. And, of course, artists out there putting out some great music. Tomorrow is new music release Friday for July 12th. And we got a lot of great shows coming up over the next few weeks. If you have not heard already, of course, we're going to start coming up in the next week or two. The show is going to WSM Radio, home of the Grand Ole Opry, AM 650 in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee. And there's multiple ways to listen out there, so we appreciate a new listening audience. And, of course, this new adventure now we're taking on with a terrific and one of the most recognized radio stations in the world out there, too. We'll still have our normal affiliates out there. Again, doing a matinee show here presented by our friends over at the CadenGordonShow.com, today's best country mix. And I tell you what, country mix, he's a little bit of everything out there too, but I love his sound, and we had to have him back here on the show. Nashville recording artist Troy Cartwright. Troy, how you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
It's good, man. Like I said, halfway through July, and like I said, got my daughter in a bunch of activities now for school, and like I said, playing a little bit of guitar and taking some lessons, swim classes. So super dad staying busy.
There you go.
Good time to have it, man. Well, as far as you guys go, you guys are going strong. I mean, this new single just came out, Lincoln Continental. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, I wrote this song. I wrote it a few years ago, and it was around the time I'd just gotten married. And I was driving to my right, and I pulled up next to this old classic Lincoln Continental. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, this is such a cool car. I wonder, and then I started thinking about all of the history that this car has seen. You know, it's like a 50-year-old car. So you just think about all the world events and all this life that this car has lived through. And so when I got to my ride, I was like, man, I want to write this song about my grandparents and their love story and how I hope to have one like that someday. And we kind of tied it all together through this old classic Lincoln Continental, and made it a little country song.
Which is a good thing out there too. And I love it because you've got a little bit of versatility in your sound too. Because describe for the fans that may not know Troy Cartwright, the artist, kind of when you go to write a song, what you're looking to accomplish. A lot of people say, the authenticity or the storytelling vibe of it, but you've got a little mix and kind of a crossover there, not just the standard like 90s country sound, but I love the vibe and like what I'm getting from your music.
Yeah. I just try and make songs that reflect like the music that I'm listening to as well. So that's certainly country music, but it's a little bit of influenced by, I guess a little bit of everything. I mean, I think that's how most people listen to music these days is we're not all only listening to one genre, we're kind of scattered about. So I enjoy just getting to be creative and make stuff that I love. And I try not to worry too much about if it fits in this box or this one or whatever.
This year's gone, like I mentioned, kind of fast. I mean, we're just swooping in halfway through 2024. Obviously, the new single doing well for you guys out there, too. Tell me, like, the back half of it now as you get from things you're working on there, some goals to accomplish for your career, and, of course, music going forward.
Yeah, I am working on getting this album out in a few months, and I'm really excited about that. Got a few new songs on there, and then I'm doing working on a tour, and I got some cuts I have as a songwriter coming out on some big artists, which I'm also super pumped about. And like you said, it's just this year is flying by, man. I cannot believe it's July. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it really doesn't. Like I said, going across from it and trying to push forward a little bit out there too. Just, I don't know, time is never enough of that in a day. That's one of our most precious commodities out there too. And, looking back at it too, talk about your team, man, because you've definitely grown as an artist out there over the last few years since you and I first talked on the program there. I've been doing this about 5.5 years now. And looking back when I first met you, I've seen you just come a long way out there too, from fans to your team to management to a lot of cool things out there, PR, things like that. And of course, the songwriting. Talk about just the growth from the first album. And of course, now we'll dive into Just Kids here in a little bit too, which came out in 2022. But your growth as an artist and just some things that you've kind of felt have kind of shaped you to where you are now.
Yeah, I think it's an exciting time to be an artist right now. There's a lot of avenues with social media and stuff like that where you can just grow and share your music and people can find you. And I've certainly worked hard at that and felt like I've really benefited from just being able to reach more people and yeah, like you said, I don't know. I haven't reflected on it too much, to be honest. When you were saying that, I was thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, stuff has changed. But I just try and keep my head down every day and work hard and be good to people and write good songs. That's all I can control, really.
We were just at the Keith Whitley event a few weeks ago. We were up there broadcasting, and we actually got on how we did it. But Lori Morgan's tour bus to set up shop and actually broadcast live. There were so many great people that took place in that particular event, a memorial show for him. We raised over $42,000 for Keith and, of course, his charities, foundations, things of that nature. And, you mentioned the talent, too. And Daryl Worley, Craig Campbell, some of these great names were able to stop by. Anita Cochran, some of the great songwriters of the 90s too. Growing up, as far as your sound, was it a little bit of everything when it came to musical influences?
Yeah, it was. I was raised during the kind of the tail end of the MTV era. So there was a show called TRL on there that was definitely heavily influencing my like 14-year-old brain. And there was a songwriter on there named Pete Yorn, and he was like the only guy with long hair that played a guitar. And in a sea of boy bands. And I was like, that's my guy. I like that guy. And then I remember burning up his records. And then my sister, she's a few years older than me. She drove me to school. So she loved country music. So I kind of got my Brooks and Dunn and Lone Star and all that fix kind of that way. And just all that kind of combined together, I guess, to make me who I am.
When you look back at, we mentioned a little bit of the headway from the first album till now, but I loved a lot of Just Kids. Let's dive into that a little bit.
Yeah,
a lot of great songs on there too at the same time, such as the title track and one called "That's Why," which was actually turned out to be one of your highest streaming songs. Talk about that record.
Yeah, man, That's Why is like this amazing. It's changed my life, and I I made that song. I knew it was special to me. And I wrote it about, my wife and our story. And what I didn't expect was how much it was going to resonate with other people and become a part of people's first dances and weddings and engagements. And there's probably not a day that goes by that I don't get a message about, how special that song is to somebody. So that as an artist and as a songwriter, I mean, that's the most beautiful thing, man. I'm super honored to have a song that resonates so much with people.
Yeah, it does. And there's another one off that record for Just Kids I liked. And always loved the first song because I feel like it sets the tone for the rest of the record too. And this was just kind of a fantastic, feel good, fun song out there too. And we need more of those in country music too, such as like a good ballad or just a good like truck song. Boys Like Trucks. Talk about that.
Yeah. Oh man, I love Boys Like Trucks, man. I love playing that one live. I always start it off. I say, this is a song about trucks, and people love trucks, man. And I wrote that with my buddy Brandon Hood and Billy Montana, and we were just having fun, man. We were just, writing a song about trucks, and it's been cool. That's kind of another one that's sort of grabbed on to people. And they love it, and I love that they love it. It's been good to me.
That's a good thing when the songs are good to you when you write them, and it's kind of a freelance thing, and that's the beauty of it too, like the hooks and the titles and things like that too, and getting to work with so many great songwriters in Nashville, Troy, that are just out there right now. I've got a chance to meet a bunch of them too when I go to town for like the CRS events and of course CMA week, or used to be called Fanfare, which is still amazing. But man, the town is just rich in so much talent out there, from singer songwriters to people that of course play the Grand Ole Opry, things like that. What's kind of left on your bucket list? I mean, would the Opry kind of be up there for you?
Yeah, I got to do like they have a kind of like a tour that they do for aspiring Opry artists, I guess. And I got to do that a few weeks ago, and it was really special. And I have always known that the Opry was so special, but to get to have them kind of walk you through the history and all that stuff, like it was really inspiring to me, and that's definitely on my bucket list of goals is to step into that circle, and I'm looking forward to hopefully getting to do that one day.
You mentioned writing songs with a lot of the great songwriters, Billy Montana being one of them too out there too, that you wrote some of the songs on this record for Just Kids. the industry's now, you see a crossover now, a lot of it, which I love it. And I think it's great. We saw, past events and things like that where, some of the 90s country singers, the legends are coming back, collaborating with some of the newer artists today. For example, like a Vince Gill and Luke Combs, performing last year on the CMAs that were out there for the 50th anniversary. We're seeing like a Jelly Roll come together with Lainey and so many duets. Talk about just how important collaboration is in the industry and kind of your take on that.
Yeah, I mean, collaboration I think is huge in that. I mean, you see it a lot with it giving smaller artists an opportunity to kind of take a jump up. And I think for this new record, like, we've been working on some duet strategies and we'll see what happens. But I just love the community of Nashville because it really is special. And it's competitive in the sense that there's a lot of people that want to do this. But ultimately, like, it is still very much a community. And I think everybody is rooting for each other. And that's one of the things that makes Nashville so special.
There's another one off that record before I take a quick time out here, but I loved it for Just Kids. We always talk about the prettiest girls but the title of this one, Prettiest Girl I Don't Know. Let's dive into that one a little bit.
Well, that was just man, I want to write a song that was like, what if we said just the right things to a pretty girl we saw at a bar? And I was kind of working through that with my buddy Brett Tyler and this other writer named Steve Mokler, and we wrote that song. And then I actually, when I was trying to figure out how to promote this song, I made this little video of when my wife leaves for work every day, she does a little outfit check in the Ring camera we got on our back door. And so we just spliced all those together and made this video. And like 80 million people have seen that video. Wow. And it's crazy. And that really helped the song get out there. And it was another one that just did real well for me. So it was exciting.
I love it too. There's another one off there we're going to talk about in a little bit. Technicolor. I love that one off the Just Kids record from Troy Cartwright out there too. And of course, a few more shows to go this week. And then next week, we'll talk more about the WSM Grand Ole Opry AM 650 affiliation now. Of course, the show's headed there. Could be this Sunday. Looking for the first episode to come out too as well. We'll have more on that in the coming days. And of course, appreciate the work our sponsors that made it possible for us to get there, and our other affiliates out there too at the same time, which is hightidecountry.net. And of course, out there, KKTC True Country 99.9. More with Troy Cartwright coming back here too as well on the Backstage Pass. Stay tuned. Word from our sponsors.
The Caden Gordon Show is a 2-hour show playing the best in country music. So check it out at thecadengordonshow.com. Again, that is thecadengordonshow.com.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here again, hightidecountry.net and our friends at KKTC True Country 99.9. And of course, soon to be WSM Radio, home of the Grand Ole Opry AM 650, Sunday mornings from 5:30 a.m. to 6 a.m. So get up, drink your coffee with us, and hear us worldwide out there in over 30 countries out there on the grandest radio station in the world. Not afraid to say that, too, because I listen to it a lot via the WSM app and, of course, WSMradio.com. Lincoln Continental, the latest single from Troy out there, and you can check him out at TroyCartwright.com for tour dates and merchandise out there too. Hey, let's dive into Technicolor off the album Just Kids.
Yeah. Man, I love that song. That's one of the we don't play that too much out live, and whenever I don't, inevitably after every show somebody comes up to me and says, "Why didn't you play Technicolor?" So that's a good indication that people like that song. And man, I just wrote that song about memories that get a hold of you that you just, there's certain memories that you go through, moments in life that you go through that are so visceral that, you're always going to remember them. And they're always going to be with you. So that's kind of a little snapshot of that moment.
I love that too, which is a great title for a great song. You've done a lot of great music videos. I've seen acoustic out there too, and some different versions of some of the songs you put out. Is there a favorite, maybe one or two music videos, whether it be like to the full length one or a lyric one or acoustic one that stand out for you?
It's hard to say. I really enjoyed, there's a song I did, Breaking Every Heart in Texas, that we did a big music video for. And that one was really special because we got to go out to this church out in Central Texas that's up on this hilltop. And that was kind of one of the first videos I got to do where it was like the way that I imagined it is the way that it came out in the end. So that's a special one for me. I think people should watch that one.
We always call Nashville, Troy, a 10-year town. You've been there kind of a while now, too. And we've seen a lot of the mention the breakout, the different artists out there, male and female, that are making their mark on the industry right now. But for some fans that may not see that, either they listen to the radio, they go to the shows to support it because it's all about the country music fans out there, too. And you come off an event like CMA Week where you see all the fans kind of going there and wearing T-shirts and, doing the meet and greets and, of course, artists signing autographs and things like that. And fans lined up outside, maybe 2, 3, 4 hours, some maybe longer before the doors open for these meet and greets. But talk about just the, I guess, kind of a two-part, the appreciation of the fans that come out and support you guys, because obviously you wouldn't have a career without the fans. And also, too, looking back at it, some of the challenges you guys go through as artists as well.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, of course, like the fans are everything. And I think, we're entering an era where the fan-centric model is even more important, and just trying to constantly find new ways to stay in touch with your fans. And, I've got like a community number where people text me, and people text me every day, and I just kind of sit there for 20 minutes in the morning and hit people back. And I love getting to have that kind of one-on-one connection with people. And then as far as the challenges go, I think it's the same, man. I think at the end of the day, what every artist and songwriter is trying to do is just survive, because you never know when that big hit's going to happen. And so you're just trying to make sure you got as much time as you can, that requires like just watching your pocketbook and making sure you're making good decisions and all that stuff. But, I've been a full-time musician now for, gosh, I don't know, 10 or 12 years. So I don't know, still surviving,
It's all you can. Hey, you were still surviving. You're hanging on. That's half the battle
right
there too, as well. Doing what you love and not having to work a day in your life to go punch a clock or something, setting your own hours, running your own business. That's what I love about doing this too at the same time.
Yeah.
I know for you guys earlier this month with Lincoln Continental coming out, I love the rendition of what might have been huge Little Texas.
Oh, thanks,
I just
man.
loved what you guys did with the your rendition of it. Talk about that, the arrangement, and of course, one of the greatest bands of all time that just tore it up in the 90s.
Yeah, absolutely, man. They reached out to me, and they said they were doing this kind of Little Texas tribute album, and just I was so honored that they asked me to do it and to sing that song, because I mean, it's one of their biggest hits, and it is a truly incredible song. And I really enjoyed getting to kind of put my spin on it. And some of the guys from the band have actually reached out and told me how much they enjoyed it and all that stuff. So it's been an honor.
It's a great group. Brady Steels, and of course all the things that they do out there too. For those guys still going strong, doing some solo stuff on their own. But I've seen getting back together, maybe doing some shows out there too. And it's amazing to connect with those guys when you get a chance, because they tore it up. Like I said, toured with other great artists in the 90s, and of course had their own tours and just headlined it too. From everybody knows Little Texas songs when it comes over too. We'll take a time out here too. Last time out of the show today. We'll come back and talk about one that Troy put out called "Get Out of This Town," which came out in May of this year too. So be on the lookout for that. If you have not already, it's out there across all the DSPs too as well. We'll take a time out again out there. KKTC True Country 99.9 and our friends at HighTideCountry.net. And of course, headed to WSM, the home of the Grand Ole Opry, coming up this Sunday, starting with the first show from 5:30 to 6 a.m. Multiple ways to listen. Get up, drink some coffee, do what I do every morning, turn on the TV and turn on the WSM app and hear the Backstage Pass, powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com. More with Troy Cartwright. Stay tuned. Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass.
The Caden Gordon Show. Today's best country mix is a 2-hour show playing independent and mainstream country music you know and love. Be sure to check it out at thecadengordonshow.com for more information on the show.
And back here on the Backstage Pass, again, powered by the Sports Guys, podcast.com, and out there at KKTC weeknights from 6:20 to 7 o'clock Mountain Time, of the LMNOC streaming app too as well, or 99.9 in the car out there in beautiful Taos, New Mexico, and our friends at hightidecountry.net in New Mexico, and soon to be WSM, AM 650, home of the Grand Ole Opry, 5:30 a.m. to 6 a.m. on Sunday mornings. We feature a different artist every week there on the home of the Grand Ole Opry too, and you can listen to WSMradio.com and our friends at the WSM app, and of course I believe it's also iHeart Radio capable too. So worldwide you catch a show now on Sunday mornings. The Backstage Pass powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com. Back here with Troy Cartwright. Get out of this town. I've used that phrase before. I like that.
Yeah. It's a fun little twist on the hook is I got to get out of this town if I've got all I can get out of this town. And I think everybody's been there, whether in a place physically or in a place mentally where it's like, man, all right, you know what? If you guys don't like me here, then I'll just take my ball and go home, So it was fun to get to put that one out. And I know a lot of people have related
to that one pretty close, no doubt. I think that's like, I'm gonna take my ball and go home. Sports, a little acronym there, a little analogy too.
Yeah.
I love it too because you guys, I love that you've released these singles I'm talking about too, kind of in succession too, with this one and some of the other ones back in March. How Smart I Am. Let's dive into this one too.
Yeah, man. That's a song about it goes, I did pretty good on my SAT, but I couldn't do the math right in front of me. Let a perfect girl slip through my hands. That'll tell you just how smart I am. And, I think we've all probably messed something up that we shouldn't have before. And I like to think I'm a pretty smart guy, but sometimes I'm pretty dumb too. So
hey, we found the right ones when it comes down to it. I'll say that when it came to meeting our significant others.
That's
and
right.
The best part of life. How did you and your wife meet? I want to get that story. How did y'all meet?
Man, we met long time ago, and we actually met in college. We were at different colleges, but one of my best friends went to college down here in Nashville, and I was in school in Boston and came down here and met this pretty girl and thought she was pretty great, but the timing wasn't quite right, and we were able to reconnect a few years later after college and started dating long distance. And then it's actually a big part of how I got to Nashville, because I was living in Dallas at the time, and I thought she was going to get a job in Dallas, and she told me she got a job in Nashville, and I had told her I would move, but I didn't think I was going to have to. But I did. That ended up changing my life in a lot of ways. So it all worked out the way it was supposed to.
And in the end, they say it's going to do that. No doubt. Good Lord has his hand on it too, and it's going to work out the way it's supposed to. And no kids as of yet, right? No kids?
No kids.
All
a couple
right.
Dogs.
A couple dogs. That still counts on the other side of it. Tally them up on the scoreboard. Hey, when it does happen, Troy, it does change your life. I have one dog.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
It's pretty amazing. She'll turn 5 next year. But now, like, the fun part of it is between the 3 and the 6 mark, they say, because they can get involved in all these different extracurricular activities. And so like soccer and t-ball and now swim classes, and the personalities come out too. And believe me, when you give her that stank face and you're like mean look, because sometimes and they try to get one over on you, it's a different different animal, tough one to get out there too. Hey, let's talk about, before I get into a little rapid fire, one you guys did last year called Deathbed. Talk about that one for me.
Yeah, I kind of wrote that. It was just a 2-way with me and my friend Justin Ebach, and man, it was just this song about kind of similar to Technicolor, about like this moment that you're always going to remember when I'm looking back at my life one day. Like, I know there's certain moments that I've had with my wife, like our wedding day and stuff like that, that I'm always going to remember and look back on, and it's just a song about those moments that you have. You only have a handful of them, but they're they're the biggest ones in your life that you're always going to remember. And it was fun to get to put that into a song.
Everywhere, I tell you, you got some great creative lyrics, and everywhere you've gone, it's turned into a fantastic song. I've loved that every time you've done that. One of the best out there doing it. All right, so I know you guys live in and around there too. I didn't get to go to all the different restaurants we were there in town for CMA week, and then recently the Keith Whitley Memorial Show that we got to broadcast live from. But I know there's got to be some of your favorite restaurants to eat at. I finally had the hot chicken, the little conundrum, or the test. I had Prince's to Hattie B's.
What'd you think?
I'm a fan over that. I'm a Hattie B's guy, so Prince's was kind of a little bit too much for me. But where's some of your favorite restaurants to eat at?
Man, we got a Hattie B's by the house that we go to pretty regularly, and I like them both.
Okay.
But there's I live kind of over in the 12 South area, so there's a little sports bar by me called Bottle Cap. That one of my favorites. I would recommend if you want to live like a local. They got great bar food, great chicken wings, great draft beer. So I love going to Bottle Cap. It's kind of my local haunt, if you will. And there's a new bar. I guess it's not that new, but the kind of the new songwriter hangout is this bar over in it's called Wedgwood, Houston area, called Never Never.
Okay.
So it's a great little cocktail bar that a lot of people don't know about. Kind of under the radar, so maybe don't tell too many people. But yeah.
Hey, if we advertise to get it out there too, and they get some more customers, hey, we've both done our job out there. That's too. Right. Hey, looking back, I saw a lot of it too. I know that Nashville's become a great hockey town. The sports aspect I got to put in there too. But Smash Town, is that what they call it? Are you a Preds fan?
I am more I'm loyal to my Dallas Stars because that's where all the Dallas teams is the teams I grew up on. So it was, speaking of sports, it was really special to get to see the Rangers win it all last year. I didn't think that was ever going to happen. So it was pretty cool to get to live through one of those. And the Mavs almost had it this year, They
did. Yeah, they did. I was, of course, growing up a Stros fan, but I love the rivalry the Stros and Rangers have become. Astros in Texas, and I try to get to go to. In fact, they're going to play this weekend before the All-Star break. And then also the All-Star game is at Globe Life Field, which is a fantastic, complex. I was there about 2-3 years ago when it was under construction, and we got some beers, hung out at a bar there too. And I think they were playing maybe some exhibition games in it too at the same time. But I love the setup of it outside of, I think it was the Lowe's, Live by Lowe's Hotel, one of the biggest chains there in Arlington, which was amazing. And you look off in the distance and you see, of course, Cowboys, the AT&T Stadium over there too, which I've gotten a tour, which is just a mecca of it. And, I've watched, of course, high school games and college games in that very stadium, which is pretty cool. I want to get to an NFL game at AT&T Stadium. But, man, Arlington is growing so much, Troy. It's crazy the leaps and bounds this city has become.
Yeah, it is. It's been kind of insane, and it is the new Rangers ballpark it's fantastic, man. It's a really fun place to see a game, and I loved the old ballpark, but it was hard in the summer. It was hot. It was real hot, so they've kind of fixed that problem, and it's a great complex. They got all those bars and restaurants around, and who knows what's going to happen in the future if they open up. There's talks that they're going to open up some sports betting in Texas. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Of course, Live by Lowe's, that's just a fantastic hotel. I remember broadcasting from the 12th floor, whatever floor. And we'd done an interview, like I said, out there on the kind of the gazebo area too. One of the little balconies were up there, and just had a fun time doing it with AT&T Stadium, in the background too, which was a lot of fun.
That's very
just
cool.
A great place to visit, and they're going to make some coin this weekend too with MLB's All-Star game coming out at Globe Life Field next week on Tuesday. Home Run Derby is Monday night, and always a fun time. We get to do that, brother. Hey, always a good time too as well. We get a chance to catch up with you out there too on the broadcast here. Lincoln Continental, the latest single out there, just came out in June from Troy Cartwright, and check him out at troycartwright.com for more information out there too on the songs and streaming music on the digital streaming platforms and merchandise and his tour schedule, all that good stuff. Man, I appreciate you being a good friend of the program, and let's do this again when the full-length album comes out.
Awesome, brother. Would love to, and thank you so much for having me.
You got it. The one, the only Troy Cartwright here on the Backstage Pass, powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com. And, of course, coming up this weekend, WSM Radio, home of the Grand Ole Opry, 5:30 a.m. to 6 a.m. Catch us out there, too, in different ways to catch us, listen in, and tune in the WSM radio app and, of course, WSMradio.com. And always out there, KKTC True Country 99.9 and our friends at HighTideCountry.net. We're back for more coming up tomorrow. We'll let you know who on the social media, different channels out there too, and also some big-time guests coming up over the next few weeks. So stay tuned for a lot more. Take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.